and 3, and 2, and 1. And Mr. Schetzel, we are live. We absolutely did it. We made it. Bro, you and I.
We did it!
We did it. We did it. How exciting. We're going to Atlanta together.
We are going to Atlanta.
Do you want to tell everyone why that's so exciting? Like, is this a like what Atlanta is and why that's important? Like, what's cool about this?
Well, Atlanta has an Irish pub with the best mac and cheese I have ever had.
Yeah, non-sarcastically, guys, it legit does have the best Irish pub in the world that has the greatest mac and cheese that we've ever had in our lives. It was one of the weirder experiences since we went to go play at the World Championships last year, and we both just desperately had to go back to get more mac and cheese. So that's what we're excited about. But everyone, we are
also.
Oh,
look at this!
God,
we have
look
this!
at that!
We have one of these!
Look at that beauty!
We're going to the championships!
What? So your boys, the Happy Cruppers themselves, Mr. Schetzel and I, we are heading back again. We've also got several other members in the Discord that are coming to Atlanta this year. We've got a bunch. Schetzel, help me out if I forget anyone. But like Matthias Fusk, he's coming from Sweden. He's going to be there. We've got Thomas Harkestad. He's another one of our Norwegian lads. He's going to be coming with us. We've got... Oh man, my brain is fried off of work today. Like, we've got quite a few dudes who are going to be there, though. It's actually going to be super exciting. I think all told, we're going to have, like 7 of us or so.
Yeah, like we're 6 Norwegians overall, right?
Yep.
All good friends.
Yep.
We're going to meet a bunch of people. Like I've already... I need to find like a gift for my new Chinese friend that we met at the WTC that I need to bring something for.
Oh, goodness. Oh, my gosh. Mr. 50 Mike's got your back. He says, congrats, my bros. A beer on me. Mr. 50 Mike, we love you and we appreciate you. And we will. Actually, you know what? One day I'm going to meet you in person and I'm going to pour a beer on you just for you. It'll literally be on you and it'll be a blast. We'll have a good time. Yeah, man. So yeah, we're a bunch of the guys at the WTC. We're gonna see there again. We're gonna see a bunch of our friends we made last year. I know I'm excited to see Nick again. Nick Nanavati from Art of War. The dude's awesome. He and I hung out a good bit last year. And guys are rock stars, so super excited to get to hang out with him again. It's gonna be a blast, dude. But
yeah,
before we get there, we gotta talk about how we're gonna get there. And I already kind of did a full review over my army list and how my Dark Angels rocked, and I'm so freaking happy with it. But there was one army list in the entire tournament who happened to score more battle points than I did, because I, over the course of 6 rounds, scored 544 battle points. I was the second highest scorer. But there was one person who actually scored more than me. And if you guys don't know who that person was, it was Mr. Schetzel Likenitz. And this bad boy, this guy showed up with Adeptus Mechanicus. He went beep boop, and made like weird adult sentences at computers, and everything just went freaking right for him. So Mr. Schetzel, with these scores of a 100, a 100, a 100, a 72, a 100, and a 79. By the way, you're a total nerd. How dare you get a 72? You got 551 battle points. You went undefeated at the largest major that we have in Norway every single year, which, by the way, was a complete Shark Tank, because we had grand total like all 18 WTC and XWTC players there. This was a beast of a tournament, and you smashed everyone with a underrepresented army that most people say sucks, and most people would be very wrong. I'm going to pull up your list. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it? And then, like, just break the list down for us, and I don't know, take a bow while you're at it here.
All right, so the key to the army, and something I see that a lot of people do wrong, is that a lot of people just sit in Protector a lot. Now, what is Protector? Protector is the coward's way. It gives you heavy, +1 ballistic skill, and -1 to hit in melee when you're near a battle line.
Cowards.
But that means that you're doing the thing that I tell people not to do. You prepare to die. What I prefer to do is to run and shoot people and kill them. So I picked the one that gives you assault, weapon skill, and extra armor penetration.
Awesome.
And then I sit in that all game. I never switched.
Never.
So that's a thing we used to do. Halo's Creed, same as before. You have Assault Ramp, crit on 5s, reactive moves, reroll hits of 1 and 2, 1 and wounds of 1. You have the extra detachment thing, and you have fallback, shoot, and charge. And Halo's Creed gives you either +2 move for the detachment, advance and charge, toughness, or stealth. So it's very, it leans into the aggressiveness, right? You want to go up there. You either move faster to shoot, or you advance and charge with things like infiltrators, rust stalkers, and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
So one of the things we used to have before was that I shot at something, and then it didn't die. And one of the weaknesses to AdMech is that we are actually kind of fragile. We die. We die easily. So that's how you win against AdMech, right? You kill it. But there was there were 2 changes. And that's what you saw when we were discussing the dataset update. I was very happy that challenger cards were gone.
Big buff.
If challenger cards had existed, I would have not won this tournament. And Cole got Oath. And that means that we are now turbo reliable in killing the things we want to kill. That means that I can actually point at something and say, that thing isn't going to be there next round.
Right.
And that's how I did it.
Right. So, perfect. So we got big buffs to the army. A lot of people didn't quite understand all the buffs, but some of the mathematics, and I'm sure you can run us through some of the mathematics of some of the units here. We're going to take a moment here, guys, and we are going to actually break down this army list. So maybe for the next, 10 minutes, we're just going to break down this army list, why everything is in here. We're not going to go through every single detail of every single unit, because, if you want to know every single data sheet ability, feel free to Wahapedia or, whatever. I mean, not Wahapedia. No one uses that devilish website. Not like everyone alive.
No, buy the codex.
Buy the codex. But yeah, so Shetzel's going to go ahead and break this down for us, and he's going to point out the keys to the army that really make it function, and he's going to break down some surprising mathematics for us about some of these jazz hand style units, even though they might not make the cut. So, Mr. Shetzel, the floor is yours.
All right, so the key units in the army that I thought were I need to have another one of these was the 10-man infiltrator unit, because they alone caused so much chaos with the fact that they infiltrated and moved 10 plus an advance, and then shoot chaff with 50 shots, only strength 3, but I mean 50 shots of something kills a lot of elves.
That's fair.
Or they advance and charged from an infiltrating position with 30 attacks with sustain 2, strength 6, AP 1 now.
So many attacks.
And like I said earlier, there's a crit 5 strat, and you're going into something with Oath. That means that this unit does 16 something wounds to a big knight.
Oh my goodness.
And if it does 16 something wounds to a big knight, it does a hell of a lot more to other things.
That is disgusting, and that's a 140-point unit.
140-point unit, yes.
With infiltrate.
Yes.
Okay. And so that was your initiator every game. The first thing that had to get punched to death, you just punched it to death. Now, when you took this thing...
see, what I did before was I took the 5-man unit and put it into something lesser first.
Right, okay.
Because they never expect that those 15 attacks turn into 30.
Right, fair play. Gotcha. So you take the 5-man, you murder the little screen, and the 10-man runs right into the first big nasty or the transport that they didn't expect to die, something like that, and you just hit the thing early game because you're right there. Was this something that you would just have them deployed out in the open and hope to go first? Was this something that you had them behind?
No. I would typically find the safest place I could infiltrate and still be of an effect. Right.
Nice, perfect.
So I put them forward. I give them the Halo token to put them where I want them to be.
Sure.
And then if something comes too close, I react to move a flat 6, and then I'm safe again. Or I just accept that they die, right? Because they've done their job in disrupting. And by them dying, I create enough positional advantages for myself so that my opponent just dies to things like the Corpus Scari, another wave of Rust Stalkers, or the Ballistari or the Disintegrators, right? So I use the Infiltrators to force my opponent to engage in such a position that they have no choice but to get shot or charged by the rest of the army.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's give everyone the right frame of mind. So why don't you quickly just read the list to people, and then we can continue
Right.
with breaking down the individual units. So let's just take it from the
So
top.
you have Call.
Yep.
You have a Manipulus that goes with the Electro Priest
And
with the enhancement for +6 range.
There you go. And what is his
And that gives
ability
them
do?
lethal.
Perfect.
He gives them lethal. And once per game, a 4-up invul.
Nice.
Then I have 2 battle line units with Rangers. They sticky, they scout. They're mostly there to hang back and just like give AP1 to the shooting elements.
Sure.
The 10 Corpus Scari, who are 30 shots with sustained 2 lethal strength 5.
Jazz hands.
And the same in melee.
Ooh.
The 5-man Skystalkers, what they did was move 14 inches to do area denial or cleanse on the middle objective turn 1, force my opponent to do stuff, move block, be a severe threat to elves, because 5 Skystalkers moving and advancing and shooting banshees is not something elves want, typically. Then there's the 5-man infiltrators, the 10-man infiltrators, 30 Sicaran Ruststalkers in units of 10.
Now that's a lot of Ruststalkers.
And they have 50 attacks each with dev wounds.
Oof.
Strength 5, AP1, damage 1, precision, dev wounds. And the leader in the unit has anti-infantry as well. Then there's 3 Iron Strider Ballistarii. They have 2 shots each with a sustained 1 twin-linked last cannon. Crit on 5s, reroll, right?
Brutal.
There's a theme here. Then there's the Disintegrator with the Ferromite cannon. The cannon gets +1 to hit against monster and vehicles. And then there's 2 transports. All the Scorpius elements have 18 stubber shots each with sustained 1. The vehicles are also twin-linked. So there's a lot of like sustained AP1 type damage in this army.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but initially when I look at this army, what I am seeing is an army that is tailor-made to annihilate elves.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It's an element of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that by picking the units that are already good, you get a lot of guns that normally don't do anything, but are just deaf to elves.
Yeah, it looks like elves have approximately 0% play into this army.
More or less, yes. We'll get into that once we get to that game, but yes.
So I do want to point one more thing about this before we start breaking some of the other units down that are critical, because we've already done the infiltrators. One thing that Sheto did, which I also did in my army, but Sheto did a better job than I did, is this is actually very, very useful for your army list. That can just be very helpful for people that you're playing against. So he actually put a little cheat sheet in. So he told them, here, this is the army rule. So he can do either this or this. And then he says, call grants oath on a target. So he'll always have oath. He's got a stratagem for assault ramp, which is, get out after transport moves and you can still charge. Strat for crits on 5. So he basically tells everything about what his army does. He also even gives some of the tricky shenanigans. So if you're like, oh, well, there's no damage when you look at the army initially, well, Sheto goes right here. He says Ruststalkers are 50 attacks with dev wounds. And then you go, oh, crap. Maybe that means that there is some damage. So he actually goes ahead and points out all of the stuff in the army that could be considered like gotcha or just relatively challenging for people to understand. And I actually think that's absolutely awesome. So he did a better job than I did at this, but we both included it. So this is something that I encourage people just to include in their army list. It's not necessary. It's just, I think it's a beautiful little service to the people you're playing. So Shetel, back to you.
And another thing about that is that normally you spend almost 10 to 15 minutes trying to explain all this. You exhaust yourself, whatever, blah, blah, blah. When I had this, people said, I read the thingy, I understand. Can you just like point out which units are which?
Perfect. And
so
much easier.
Saves so much time and cognitive effort, which you need in such long tournaments.
Absolutely. Oh, by the way, Shetel, you got a guy in the chat. Nindo40K says, lots of love, Shetel, and then he can't wait to meet you at Atlanta again. He was the Blood Angels player from round 6 last year.
Yeah,
So
I look forward to meeting all my guys, yeah. Like, we considered going down to Talavera this year. We didn't make it this year, so we would have met then. But I look forward to meeting all my friends again.
All right, man. So let's get back to the army. So sorry for interrupting you, but let's go ahead and break down the rest of the key pieces. So you basically already talked about infiltrators, rust stalkers. Let's get into the other things.
Right. So the Ballistari
Mm-hmm.
very reliably kills what they shoot with regards to big vehicles.
Mm.
I've only had one element where I only had like 1 hit out of them and 2 damage into a Land Raider, and then every other time they kill whatever, right? So they looked at a Wave Serpent, they killed the Wave Serpent. They look at a Death Shroud unit, they kill the Death Shroud unit. Because even though you have a 4-up, right? The volume of last cannons you get from that unit with crit 5s becomes quite substantial.
Because it is 6 last cannon shots, generally hitting on 3s or 2s, critting on 5s with sustained hits,
hitting
right?
on 4s actually.
Okay, 4s. Okay.
Yeah, so most of the army in shooting actually hits on 4s. And that's what the oath is about.
Right. So now you're fishing for those 5s. So you're getting 8 to 10 last cannon hits with this unit.
Yeah, typically like 6 to 7,
Okay.
right?
Gotcha. And then they are twin linked, which is a lot. Like that's a lot.
Yeah, so you do the wounds you do.
Right. Fair play. Okay. And like 1 unit was plenty.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
In this configuration, one is perfectly fine.
Okay.
Like Mr. Eckert says, like with regards to like autocannon chickens,
mm-hmm.
maybe two units of 3 with autocannons in Sicarian Hunter Cohort, where you can get up to AP3 with them.
Okay.
Is worth considering. But for this army, this was enough. And then the disintegrators, being T10 to up armor save holes, were just super consistent on sitting on flanks, just looking down angles, and then constantly pumping like 6 damage D6 shots per tank, stubbers and high AP shots, just shooting them down range, making sure that elite-ish armies have to be aware, right?
Okay. And so now when I'm looking at an army, I look at currently in this meta, because I think this meta is actually amazingly fun, and I really like where the game is right now. I see that there are like 4 different threats that armies have to be teched for. You have to be teched for night bodies. You have to be teched for elites, because elites are a problem again, and elites would be things like Terminator, 8-bound, this style unit. You have to be teched for infantry, so elves, guardsmen, etc. And then you also have to be teched specifically for MSU. And one of the things that immediately pops out in my brain when I look at your army is that it's ready for all of those. Like, yes, you can 1-tap a knight. Yes, you can go out and grab MSU units because you have enough activations between like your pity shooting and like your charging that you can grab MSU. You are going to cleave through some hordes. And with all the devastating wounds that are coming out of there, you're probably going to just make elite style armies hurt. So it looks like you've got all the elements there. So, yeah, so that's what I'm looking at it. Was this in consideration when you were building it, or is it just like a happy accident?
Yes, that's kind of where I've been with this style, because this is fairly similar to the Sicarian Hunter Cohort list that I took to WCW last year before Halo Street was a thing.
Right.
And then I feel like Halo Street just made my list better, in a sense. And now with the Oath, it's just become like turbo good, basically.
Fair play. Now, do one more for me real fast. Why don't you break down the idea behind the Skoperscari Electro Priest? Just break down the concept of what they are, what they do, and what was their function in the army. And guys, at the end of this, we will go through things that Shetel might consider changing after we go through the matchups he did play.
So for the Electro Priest, my consideration was I need something that can kill a Necron blob on like 1 activation and doing it from range. Because I need to be able to reach it, right? And also like be generally okay into charging past walls and stuff. So I've always been kind of curious about the Electro Priest, because with crit 5s and sustain 2, that's pretty good.
It's a lot.
Previously with reroll 1s, it was kind of okay. And then I started looking at the math now that we got Oath, because one of the things I did when I saw that was like, okay, what kind of new style lists can we build? And one of the units that popped out, like, okay, what kind of like, okay, so we have Halo Screed, we have crit 5s. What can exploit crit 5s? Iron Striders, yeah, last cannons, okay, sure. Into the list. Infiltrators, sustain 2, into the list. Like, those are known good data sheets that we already have, right? So we do that. And I was like, what else unlocks here? And then there were two options that I looked at. I looked at kind of from destroyers, and then I looked at electro priests.
Okay.
And one of the considerations for electro priests is that their datasheet ability also has -2 to move advanced charge.
That's so good. That's so good.
And it's like, that's not bad. Then I started looking at the map, and I was like, okay, crit 5s. Okay.
So stop teasing me. How much damage is it? Stop teasing me. How much damage is it?
Okay, if the knight doesn't have cover, it does 22 damage to a knight.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting.
It can kill a knight for 130 points plus the leader.
Yeah, with a little bit of luck, you actually, and not honestly that much. And if it doesn't kill a knight, you're 90% of the way there off of a 130 point unit. That's
then like shoot it with some arc rifles and then it dies, right?
That's bonkers.
That is if they do not have cover.
Fair play.
But they, yeah. So that's kind of silly because they also do that in melee.
Right.
And then because we have the enhancement, right? It goes from 12 to 18 range.
Mm-hmm.
The vehicle can move 12, and then +2 to 14. You can disembark them. You can then shoot and charge something else. It's like, that actually does a lot for the brawling part of the game that I don't have to use Rust Stalkers for.
Lethals and Sus 2 with full rerolls to hit does generational trauma.
That's quite significant.
Yeah. For a very low points investment.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Got it. All right, man. So those are basically all the units that are in here. Everything hits like crazy hard. Nothing is durable. And the Scorpius Disintegrators are fairly durable. You've got firepower, low AP firepower everywhere. You've got some big AP elsewhere. And in melee, you've got devastating wounds absolutely everywhere. And you're all backed up by Belisarius Call, who's going to be giving full rerolls to hit against any target on the battlefield every single turn. And you have unbelievable speed.
Yep. And so the general game plan, right?
Yep.
I call it my onion.
You call it your onion.
I do infiltrators first to do lots of damage, disruption, battle shocks, all kinds of, shenanigans up there. And then I have the one transport with Rust Stalkers that I shoot out to his natural while I overload my own with all my shooting stuff and the Electro Priests and stuff, right?
Yep.
And then those 10 Rust Stalkers die. But while they've gone out, I've reloaded the Dune Rider, and then I send another one out.
Just wave
and then
wave.
They die, and then they die, and then he has 4 turns of never having had his home because the infiltrators, then the Rust Stalker. Oh, 4 turns. How many turns do you score primary on? 2, 3, 4. Oh, he doesn't score primary. Whoops.
And it turns out when you're maxing primary and your opponent's not maxing primary or not getting any primary, you generally win. Shockingly. I know. Shocking.
Weird, right?
If I had to tell you that there was a person in the chat who is salty about orcs getting nerfed and not keeping sustain too, and now AdMech has to get nerfed, who do you think that would be?
That would be Mr. Mike.
Dude, I still think Mordaka was nerfed way too early. I agree. Mordaka was not nearly as bad as everyone said. I'm totally on board with you. I do want to point out
too early and too hard.
And too hard.
But I think that what they realized that wasn't the kind of orcs they wanted orcs to be. But the kind of orcs they want orcs to be isn't really refined enough, right?
Just bad. Oh, and we got Mr. Mass Bro Effect with a $20 super chat. Bro, I love you and I appreciate you. It means the world that you support us like this. Best thing about being on night shift. Happy Crumpin' Wargaming stream. First thing when you wake up. My guy. Blessings. I do want to point out one other thing. It's not a super chat, but it did make me laugh really, really hard. Moo5 said, good though, seeing the doctor back in his natural element, a bathrobe, and a pile of shame. Looking like a venerable Rome senator.
This is not a bathrobe. These are my lovely, lovely blankets.
It's simply just a cozy blankie.
And whenever the temperature gets just low enough, this is how you find me. Like, everyone I know knows that if I can justify having a blanket, I will have a blanket.
He's a blankie, bro. Come on, it's not a robe. Gosh, how dare you?
It's comfy. We are being comfy, and comfy is key.
Mass Bro Effect, thanks so much, man. Really, really appreciate you. All right, Shetzel, let's get into these matchups. Let's do this thing. We've prattled on long enough. Let's go look up round number 1.
Excellent. Do you want the images for this to throw up on stream as well? And then I can just like showcase like an image from each stream?
Ooh, yeah, we could probably do that. If you wanna drop those to me, I could probably pull them up here. That could work.
Go.
All right, so the first matchup?
It helps giving people a little bit of a visual aid, I suppose.
Yeah, it totally does. So what I'll do is I'll get these popped up on stream while you're talking here. So Shetzel's first matchup was against Adam Keith Solumsko, and Adam is an awesome guy, and he used to be he was captain of the ETC team, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, before it transitioned to the WTC.
So long-time player.
So we had a little funny moment where I went like, "Look at me, I am the captain now."
Look at me, I am the captain now. Yeah, exactly. So why don't you go ahead and break? Why don't you go and break this down a little bit for us while I get some of these pictures loaded up here?
Right. So he played Orcs Cadre, which I considered being possibly one of the more tricky matchups to get through because I've experimented with it a bit. I've helped people build it a bit, so I knew what it could do, but this was the wrong mission and map for him to do it against me. Because I have a lot of practice on Terraform. He hadn't played the matchup at all before against AdMech, because there are so few of us in general.
Yep.
And the map being table 8, I believe it was, like GW8.
Yes, GW8 and it's Crucible.
Crucible, yes. Meant that I had a very safe spot to put my 10-man infiltrator unit that he could not interact with at all, because all the dangerous crude stuff is mounted, so they have to go around. And I could send the 5-mans into his natural and deny that turn 1, so that he could not terraform it.
So I do have a picture up here if you want to talk about your deployment at all, if that's what you're kind of going through. I loaded that first picture, and if that helps, if that's helpful.
Right. Let me see. There we are. Yeah. So as you see, right, top place there. We can just use this image for all of it because this is basically where he stood all game.
Cool. Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. So I send my infiltrators up to his natural in the bottom right.
Mm-hmm.
Kill the crew towns there, tag his stealth suits. My 10-man infiltrators sit up there all the time. What he did was that I made sure that I was over 6 inches away from those crew towns, and that if he wanted to get the AP buff against my infiltrators, he needed to be on the terrain, visible to my infiltrators.
Aha.
Which he did, right? So they had 50 shots. They shoot away crew towns easily for mark for death.
Sure.
For my gamma, right? And he went first here, I believe.
Okay.
Right. So I do that. I take away his expansion. He tries to do some shooting stuff. All I ever do is expose those skystalkers so that I terraform both middle and natural for me. So then I get 2 points all the time. He doesn't get his natural. That means that from turn one, I know I'll win. Right. I knew I was going to win. Right. So at that point, it was just how much am I going to win with? And because, singles, you got to go for like big diffs and stuff like that, I figured, okay, so depending on what he does in his turn 2 now, I either decapitate him or I just sit and hold. what he
Right.
did was that he exposed his riptides early. So I push out my infiltrators. I push out my electro priest and shoot away some Krutox riders. I send ruststalkers into one riptide. I have 2 chickens kill 1 riptide, while the third one injures the second. And then my infiltrators alone just absolutely demolish the third riptide, and infiltrators finish off the second one, or ruststalkers finish off the second one. So now he has no riptides.
Yep.
He didn't kill my infiltrators, and my infiltrators in his turn killed his stealth suits because he tank shot away one guy, so the riptide couldn't fight anymore. And then I piled in, killed the stealth suits. Then I fell back to move block his rampagers in that little gap there, so they couldn't do anything. And then this is basically how I ended up. This is where we called the match.
Fair play. Fair play. So it looks like basically the whole story was he was unable to push out in any meaningful way until he did push out fully, and then you were able to push out fully and get the first punch. And then it's just like there's no way he's ever going to obtain anything.
Right. And so I like the reason we're spending a little bit more time on this particular one is because almost every single game was the exact same game plan.
Smart. And if you guys have listened to any of my videos or streams, this is something I actually preach a lot, and shockingly, I get a lot of this from Shetzel, is that your army does a thing. It generally, and I do mean generally, I don't mean exclusively, I do mean generally, your game plan doesn't change regardless of what army you're playing. You're gonna do 90% the same thing because that is what your army does. And Shetzel is an exemplar of this idea. So that's the way he kind of crawled up there, and he absolutely smashed it. And it's a big deal. And it doesn't really matter if it's I think maybe sometimes you can argue that you play slightly different if there's like, say, a World Eater opponent coming in with 6-inch pylon and consolidation.
Yeah. I mean, obviously,
but like,
some armies you have to take alterations on.
Exactly.
Like your general game plan
doesn't change.
Stays the same, right?
Exactly. All right. So this was 130. This is a great way to start off the game, and then we went right on into round number 2, where you went 135 against Death Guard, which is one of the big boogeymen of the meta. And a lot of people think Death Guard would just crush you. They've got anti-infantry flamers everywhere. They've got super high armor save, super high toughness everywhere, but they did not.
And before these changes, Death Guard was an auto lose.
Right.
When we went to Örebro, like that's what I said, right? If I meet War Dogs, and if I meet Death Guard, I'm not winning.
Right.
And those were the matches I lost at Örebro as well, right?
Fair play. Yeah, it was. I actually think it was. That's true.
And the reason because of that is because of the -1 to hit contagion.
Sure. Which makes sense to me.
Because then I didn't kill anything. Then I didn't mop up anything, right?
Yep.
Now you do.
All right, so now we're to Death Guard.
So if you bring up just the one picture where you can see the Ruststalkers stand in a line, that basically exemplifies the entire game here. Yeah. You'll need to share your screen for me to see it before YouTube stream catches up, for what it's worth.
Yeah. Fair play. Let me see if I can do that over here. Make this a little bit easier.
Oh yeah, that's one of the final images. That's perfectly fine.
Okay, cool.
So as you can see here, right? Game plan is more or less the same. Ruststalker car down south. I had one Ruststalker to the left. I yeet up to his natural there. I stand safe on my natural to the left. And then the middle is just not being interacted with. Like, we don't interact with middle because then we both die. I keep mine. I keep him off there. I had my infiltrators on his like natural to the right. I made sure that I stayed out of range of his guns. I made sure that he didn't have a line on the left to my Ruststalkers. And then I just gradually transitioned to this. And this was in turn 5. Everything is dead except the Demon Prince and the Blight Taurus that you see there.
And you're just able to easily go out and trade one thing a turn, no big deal. The chickens will easily pick up one. Would you ever split fire them, by the way? Would you ever split fire chickens to try to get 2 bloat drones, or is it only 1 bloat drone you're going after?
No, the disintegrators handle bloat drones. The chicken in the Ballistari here go off the Death Shroud.
Aha! I see. Okay, very cool. Very cool. All right, so tail
So
of
yeah,
tape.
there was nothing he could do here. The map here favors me so much in this matchup. He could have maybe used his plague marines on the left hand side in the
Sure.
picture here, but then they would have just died to cannons and ruststalkers.
I see. Okay, so Death Guard number 1 smashed, and I say this because there were others. The boogeyman of the meta is not enough to keep the toaster lovers down. Okay, cool. So let's go into round number 3. So round number 3, now we're starting to look at some of the harder hitters. So we're playing against Stian Budareslena, who I butchered his name, but he's a friend of us, so we like this guy a lot. And he was running actual War Dog spam, the War Dog detachment, and he actually ended up doing pretty well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, this used to be a loss for AdMech, like I said. Because I would leave War Dogs on 1 wound, War Dogs on 3 wounds, and whatever, and War Dogs on 1 wound and 3 wounds still kill AdMech profiles.
Right.
Now they just died.
Now they don't live on 1 or 2 wounds.
And there is a good image to explain the tactic on this layout.
Yeah.
Because the tactic I used in this match and my next match was exactly the same.
Okay.
I staged the Dune Rider in the Super L type structure.
Yep.
And then I send it to his. This is from like my player's perspective. I send it to the bottom right objective, while I have infiltrators in the Super L in my objective. I don't play the middle. I deny his expansion with waves of ruststalkers. The infiltrators in this game ended up on his home objective.
Let's see if I can do it.
And then, he can't score. I kill him. He had nothing left at the end.
Let me just kind of give a little perspective. I'm just going to maximize this picture just so people can see how you're kind of walking up the battlefield. And I'll just maximize this one here. And so if you're looking at this one right now, you eventually just sent one of your Dune Riders all the way up into his deployment zone, and the other Dune Rider went to his natural expansion here, just as you were.
Yeah, because I had behind enemy lines and locus. So those two up there in his deployment zone there, that's my behind and locus.
So it's just like every single time. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I took my infills from his home objective and ran and finished off the 2 last War Dogs behind that Super L.
And so you're just able to pick up a dog with the Battlestar. You're able to pick up a dog with the disintegrators. So you get like 3 dogs a turn.
Pick up a dog. Pick up a dog with the infills. Pick up a dog with the Corpus Scari.
Oof.
And maybe pick up a dog with the ruststalkers. But typically, they do 12 wounds to a War Dog.
So you're just traumatizing everything. So Knights, which used to be possibly the worst matchup, is now no problem for you. Now, you didn't run into triple Gatmans, did you?
One of the things I want to point out here, is that if you look at that Dune Rider in my home objective, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people have been asking, how do you get the benefit of both the +2s to advance and charge if I only have 2 battle line? And this was how, right? Because when you jump out of a vehicle, you get +3 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my compensation for not having a battle line for the charge of the ruststalkers.
Got it.
That meant I don't have to expose them. I don't have to lose them.
So you would just
also
use
the reason there's only so that meant I could comfortably get to his expansion.
Yep.
With just a 1 on the advance, anyways, right? I always got where I wanted to be without having any chance related to it.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So we're just seeing absolute damage coming out, which is totally crazy. Your next round, in round number 4, you played against another Chaos Knights, and this was against Gatmans. And you still just dominating win. Was there a difference in how you had to approach a And by Gatmans, by the way, we're talking about the triple despoiler big Knights build, which is probably what most people would argue the strongest army in the game right now. So there's a different way you're approaching bigs.
There is a very different way that I approach bigs here.
Okay.
Because one of the things that you have to realize when you're playing this kind of Chaos Knight list is that you have to get away with killing all the small stuff so that he can't score secondaries without also having to expose his big knights. So what I did is that, turn 1, I spent my 5-man infiltrators to kill his Beast of Nurgle with oath and crit 5s. Then I spent my infiltrators to kill one of his carnivores, or his stalker, a war dog, anyways.
And so you don't even care if it's even
then
trading. You just had to get rid of the small pieces.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I used my Corpus Scari to get rid of Rodigus because he doesn't have an armor save, right?
Yep, makes sense.
And then my 10-man infiltrators went and did put his one of his despoilers down to 14 wounds, the blue one, so that when he had to come out there to kill Call, I could then use my Ballistari and get rid of a despoiler. So he ended up the game with only his 2 despoilers left, right?
So you didn't even bother going for the things that were causing all the damage because that wasn't relevant to scoring the points.
Because they weren't doing damage, because I was on different parts of the table than them.
Nice.
Because he had deployed everything so far away that I could just safely hold my 2 objectives. And if you look here, I even did a little movement mistake. If you look at the Ruststalker by Call, he can be seen from downrange. So I was sloppy there and lost that Ruststalker unit. Right? Those are the things that can easily turn a winning game from a losing game.
Sure.
But even on this mission, I knew that when I had scored my points in turn 3, that I had already won.
Beautiful.
There was no way by my turn 3 that he could catch up to me. I knew I had won. So then it was just maximizing the points that I could get.
Yep.
And you know, I didn't need to deny him anymore because I knew I'd won. Then it's like, fine, you can just kill whatever you want. I don't care. I have won.
And you know, one of the things
getting there was actually difficult here. Like, this is one of the lists that's a problem for me because he kills me.
Right. He kills you really quickly.
And if you die, you can't score.
So one of the big things that we talk about a lot on this channel, guys, is that when you are playing 40K, it's really easy to get into this mindset where you just have to destroy your opponent's models. But remember this, and just remember this always, that the only reason why you destroy your opponent's models is to remove an impediment to your scoring. If you're not removing an impediment to your scoring, or you're not removing something that is scoring for your opponent, there's no point in removing it. So one of the things that Shetil is...
Killing the Beast of Nurgles, killing the War Dogs is very important here. Because then he has to commit the Gatmans. And things die if you shoot at it.
Exactly. So it causes such big problems for people who have overwhelming firepower. Because even though AdMech hits very hard, triple despoiler Gatling cannons hits harder. So it's not about getting into a slugfest. It's about making sure that he can score no longer by sacrificing your units. You don't have to kill his deadly stuff if he can't score points. All right.
Also, very funny story happened in this game.
Oh, Funi.
Yeah, he had area denial for over 2 turns because he kept trying to get it and he failed.
Brutal.
So in turn 5, he had 1 Nurgling that finally didn't battle shock, was in the middle, and he had to kill my 3 Ballistari that were in melee with one of the remaining despoilers. So he shoots 2 of them away and puts the last one down to 2 wounds or something because of a Ruin Spear missile. He charges me, tank shocks me, I explode and kill the Nurgling on 5 on 1 wound remaining. So then he doesn't get area denial.
Oh, that's like salt in the wounds, man. Salt in the wounds. All right, now at this point, you're 4-0. You know you're likely headed to the finals here because we're looking at all the other armies out there. And we know that I had already knocked out Irek at this point, who was also running triple Gatling cannons. We're looking at all the undefeated people who are still around. And you're like, okay, I'm feeling pretty good about this. Now, were there any other lists in the tournament that you were afraid of playing at this moment?
I knew that the one that might give me trouble was Misha's Imperial Knight.
Okay.
And there was a minor chance that you could do it because I know that you typically play better in the mornings than I do. So I knew that if I met you in the morning, I would need to like double up on coffee and all kinds of like stuff just to like get prepared because the morning game on the Sunday is typically my weakest game.
See, I want us to run this match because I was hoping I would get you, and if I'm wrong, I need to know that.
I think you're wrong.
Okay, cool. Then I would love to run. Maybe we can do that as like a stream match for people, and then you can like
Yeah, we should do
you
that
can
one
get
day.
me learnt, son. Okay, cool. So we're going into round number 5 now. And this was going to be you versus Torbjorn Amalfots, who I also played this guy in round 6. He was a pretty good Death Guard player. He was running a fairly solid Virulent Vectorum list. And this looks to me like it basically went the same way that your first Death Guard round did. Is that pretty much correct?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
There was nothing he could do here because if you pull out the layout here, this is a good match and an example of why you need a plan, because he did like he said it himself. He did not necessarily have a plan on the same level that I did. And like kudos to this guy, because I don't think I've seen him before. And then he comes up going 4-2,
Yeah, it's awesome.
losing only to me
Huge.
and then you, right? So he goes from like from the coals to the fire, right?
That's such an incredible thing to do at a tournament of this size. Like when you're running into, and like this is no arrogance, but Chetzel and I are both like definitely top 5 in the country, and so if we're the only 2 that you're losing to, bro, you legit had a pretty dang good performance. You should be proud of yourself, especially like since you're newer to the higher competitive scene.
Right, so with what I did here, like I had a game before the tournament, and that's what kind of made me think about that Rust Stalker car and the Corpus Cari.
Right.
Because I knew that if I overloaded my natural up in the north here and stickied that, then he couldn't take that from me without dying. And I knew that I very easily could send 5-man Rust Stalkers and then or 5-man infiltrators and then Rust Stalker, and then he never stickies his natural. He never scores it, and I can burn it on Scorched Earth.
Yeah, brutal.
So he only ever got 5 primary every turn. And when Mortarion finally decided I need to expose myself, I moved the chickens forward, I moved the Electro Priests forward, and this was the match that was like, are Electro Priests enough? Because there was a moment where I thought, okay, they didn't do enough damage now. Maybe I should have crit 5'd on the Ballistari.
Right.
But then the disintegrators just went and like, yeah, he's dead now. Like, okay, thanks.
So this was the first moment you experienced questioning the Corpus Cari.
Yeah, because the Corpus Cari hadn't been super impactful until now. They'd just been around and done stuff and were like reliable. They do stuff units.
I guess the question when
I needed them to do damage now against something with a 2-up save, they only did like 6 damage to Mortarion, which is fine. Or they did like 4. I think he had 2 wounds left or something that the disintegrators had to pull off. And then I could have like tank shocked and stuff. So he died. It was fine. But it was more of a commitment than I was comfortable in doing. And if he had pushed out Mortarion earlier, along with some other things, that might have been a problem, right? Because if people just become aggressive against AdMech, you might actually not have enough activations to comfortably kill everything.
Sure.
And that's why I am considering some alterations, basically.
Yeah, and we'll talk about after that after we finish this up. So okay, cool. So you finished that one up, and then the last round against arguably another one of the top players in Norway, who I think is just incredible. We have Mr. Sveinung Nudling, and he was running a fairly standard aspect host army. He had the 10 fire dragons with Fuegan and all that shenanigans. And I think as we discussed earlier, elves are just basically 100% boned against this.
Yeah. So if you can find the picture of my deployment here,
yeah, I can
because this game essentially ended in deployment, and from my mistakes alone, according to Sveinung himself, by the way, according to my mistakes alone, he thought he could like crawl back a little bit. But once again, like all the early scoring I had here basically meant that he couldn't come back. And if I hadn't made those mistakes, then
there'd be no chance, huh?
Yeah, there would have been no chance at all. One of the things he said to me after the game was that if you hadn't made that charge where I just killed the Ruststalkers with Banshees, then I would have just like said, "Can I pause the clock?" gone to find Sondre, who was the head judge, and said, "Can I just concede?" Because
Gotcha.
if you look here, right, this is the same general deployment, but it's search and destroy. So I've moved up to handle his scorpions on the left.
Mhm.
I've already blown up his wave serpent in the middle because he figured he had to do a gambit.
Yes.
What you're not seeing, or what you're kind of seeing here, if you look all the way in the top right corner, you can sort of see, wait, those are orange 40mm bases. What are those? And that's 5 infiltrators touching his falcon in his deployment zone, turn 1.
That's bad.
And then if you look a little bit to the right, between those 2 ruins, you can see the other 10 infiltrators just sitting up there shooting away his hawks. So all his hawks basically disappeared turn 1.
That's brutal.
And then it just sort of continued like that. He could never take my natural. He couldn't. He scored only once on his natural, which was one of my mistakes. Because I had Assassinate, I wanted to get Lycus. He had a good Overwatch. I actually used the +1 toughness for the first time in my life there on my stalkers.
Oh my.
But he killed too many, and then I did the charge on Lycus anyways.
Sure.
And what I, in the heat of the moment, didn't think about was that then he piles and consolidates 6 inches and went on to the objective.
Sure.
And then could jump all the way to my home objective and threaten that. But then I overwatched. I killed like enough units that he sort of had to make some choices that were difficult, and then it didn't work out for him anyways.
Fair play. And so with that, you became the champion of Invasion 2025. Congratulations.
Yes,
well freaking done, my guy. All right. So
and like the interesting thing here, and it feels almost arrogant to say, was that except for the Gatman match,
yeah,
until turn 3 and the final game, like just having a plan to begin with and having been so well practiced with the list, it didn't feel that difficult.
You just walked straight through it, right?
Yeah, because I had the plan. I didn't need to think. Right. I just executed.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So now what I want to talk about real fast is I want to talk about some things that you are considering to change and why. One of the things that you already brought up is that Corpuscari unit. Now, my question to you is, you said you didn't feel like it did enough. Now, when you say that, is that in context of a 130-point unit that only dealt 4 to 6 damage to Mortarion? Or is that in the context of you need 130 points to do something else in the army list?
No, it's in the context of having 130 points plus 70 something for the leader plus 85 for the Dune Rider.
Sure.
So it is like 285 points in total for the package.
Fair play, fair play. So that's that entire package on the chopping block, or just the Corpuscaris, or just the leader?
And the entire package in a sense. But if I take away the Corpuscari and the Dune Rider, I can get a unit that 1-taps Berserker bricks. I can add Cataphront Destroyers and take the lethal guy, put it to them, right? And what they then do is that they guarantee kill a knight when they shoot at it. Not 22 wounds, just dead. They do 28 to 30 wounds on a knight.
Ooh. Brutal.
And they also like flat out kill Berserkers because it'll be AP 4. So they'll save on 6s in cover.
Sure.
And then the unit also overwatches on 5s. And they also have flamers. Yeah, and then they and 18-inch range flamers.
Oh, it's 18-inch range flamers, right. So don't need
rerolls. But they don't have rerolls. That's what the Oath does. Having Oath enables that unit to do more than what Breachers did from a safer distance. Because Breachers need to be within 15 or 18-inch range.
Right.
These guys can do it from 42-inch range.
And on GW maps, which is what we're prepping for now, because we're prepping for the Worlds, baby, ATL.
Let's go.
42 inches is actually very nice, because a lot of GW maps have those big, long firing lanes.
Yes, sir.
That's cool. I like that.
And so what I want to do is that I want to do the Corpus Scari into destroyers.
Yep.
And I want a third battle line unit. So I'm dropping the Rust Stalker wagon in order to bring in a unit of vanguards and a Manipulus with the melee enhancement, so it becomes 7 attacks at 6/3 in melee, because he's always attached to battle line, to be like a late game brawler type thing to come in and mop up stuff.
Okay.
And like that unit as well, with crit 5s, does like 10 wounds to a knight with the rad rifles alone.
Ah. So
it's like that's actually kind of significant for turn 4/5 play, in addition to their -1 OC aura.
Which is very real, because that applies to everything, right?
Not vehicles.
Not vehicles, but it is not it doesn't have a floor, so it'll take you from 1
That
to 0.
That is correct.
That's huge.
So that's what I'm testing now in my Vaisla game that I'll be playing tomorrow.
Cool. I like it, man.
And I think that's the way to go, because there will be a lot of 2-up things and things with cover.
That's true.
So being able to sort of like, I can use my Ballistari and my Disintegrators to kill 1 or 2 Rep-X's. Then I can use my Destroyer to kill a third if I need to. Or I can like use the Destroyers to kill it, then my Chickens to kill the Sword Brethren, or vice versa, right?
Yeah, for
that
sure.
gives me options. That gives me very good options.
Fair play. Now, is there any other army that's tickling your fancy when we're prepping for Worlds right now?
It'll be my Knights.
Okay, you are considering Knights.
And obviously my Guard.
All right, so Guard and Guards, Knights. When you say Knights, do you mean Imperial or do you mean Chaos?
My Imperial Knights.
Your Imperial Knights, all right. So we are considering some of the new Imperial Knight stuff. We're considering some of the Guard stuff. And we're considering AdMech. So those are your big 3 that is tossing around your brain. But are you thinking like AdMech is still number 1 right now?
I am very much thinking that AdMech is my go-to.
Very cool. I like it, man. What armies does AdMech worry about right now?
I think World Eaters, depending on map, might be an issue. But I think I can play enough around it. And if I add Cataphront Destroyers, I pick up bricks. And they can't stop that. One issue might be the new Raven Guard.
Okay.
Like very fast melee pressure that can put up a lot of targets might be a problem. But I think that if I do like 20 infiltrators in 10 mans in the middle, if they charge me and become battle shocked, because it's -2 on the battle shock text from infiltrators.
Yeah, it's huge.
At the fight phase.
It's huge.
That means they can't surge move.
Right.
Which means that I just roll up and delete.
Yep. Fair play. No, that's a very big deal, actually. There's no joke about that.
So that also means that maybe I try to find 50 points for the scat rolls. Mr. Man on Stilts, that looks like Inspector Gadget.
Model in 40K.
Bro, I like him. He's charming.
It's
I
the dumbest model in history, dude.
He's so charming, though.
Oh my gosh. Get out of here with that
cute.
nonsense.
He's cute.
Disgusting is what it is.
He actually scored me a lot of points in Örebro when I brought him.
Dude, whatever. That model's so dumb. Oh, man.
So
Listen, I do think I would love for us to try to schedule a stream game, because I am actually really curious about that Dark Angel list into your AdMech. I definitely see some things I'm scared of, but I see some things I'm also pretty excited about. So I'd love to run that match. Maybe we can do that together, and we'll stream it for everyone alive if they smash the like button and hit the subscribe. So I think this is cool. Do you have any parting little thoughts here?
Get involved with your national team, because if you do, there are so many people around that you can learn things from. You can get the matchup knowledge that you need, because that's one of the things that I always see in these tournaments, is that people that play their locals don't play enough diverse armies. They don't know enough about like the general Norwegian or like local national meta and stuff, so that when they go to the tournaments, they don't know enough about what they're gonna face. That is knowledge you can get by involving yourself in things like your national team and stuff. and I am positive that most national teams have community servers and stuff, or at least like are open to the idea of getting more people involved.
Yep.
Because this is the season to do it.
I completely agree. Now, Chris S has a question. He wants to know what about all of us that have already hit the subscribe button? Well, you should drop $100 super chat because I got to pay for travels to Atlanta now. So clearly that's what you do. Much love, guys. We appreciate all of you. So, guys, one of the cool things that I found from this tournament is I've discovered a new way of thinking about primary, and I think I'm really excited to share it in a video tomorrow. Probably on Friday because I already have my video for tomorrow made. So I got a lot of different ways about thinking about the game that I'm really pumped to start sharing with you guys of how we can approach from like different tactical ways. So this was an awesome tournament. We all learned a lot. Big shout out to Mr. Ivan in the chat who just went 4-1 at a GT with my Smash Captain Dark Angels list. So love it, buddy. Congratulations.
Also, I have another final thing to say.
Oh, one more. Oh my gosh. Here we go.
Become a member. Join the member section of the Discord. Because the exact same plan that I described to, I believe it was Mr. Chris Wright, before the tournament about how to improve his game with his Volcan,
that was beautiful,
and how to like deny primary score primary. What I explained to him was exactly what I did to win this tournament.
Dude, that masterclass you did in the Discord was absolutely unbelievable. Actually, what I did is I copied and pasted it all because I'm actually doing an entire video just on that. So, yeah, that might be next week, but we'll see. So, anyways, we appreciate all of y'all. Thanks for hanging out with us on this amazing Wednesday evening. AdMech are scary. Stonks are up. Actually, I was just looking up on Goonhammer, and we only have 3 winning AdMech lists this entire year, and Shetzel is definitely the biggest winner by taking down a major. So if you guys have questions about AdMech, holla at your boy. He is our administrator in the Discord, so he's always there, and he's a lovable oaf, full of lots of wisdom and stuff. And he also accepts hugs and beers. So there you go. Shetzel, thanks so much for coming on. We love you, and we appreciate you. And with that, I think we're probably going to close it off. Everyone, thanks so much for hanging out with us, and we are out. Crump on. Bye-bye.